So they're talking about Mateus Cunha again, people. And so are we. We're live again, second live on Mateus Cunha. I did a breaking news video reacting to it on AFTV. Short my brief thoughts. It is there. We're going to do a live stream anyway, just sort of scouting some players because everyone keeps saying, well, who do you want? You know, you keep saying you want someone. Well, Arsenal can't just drop the money. Who do you want? So I thought we'd use Football Manager to actually do some of that scouting ourselves. But also, I really want to do this as a live because I'd love you to all come in. I don't watch so much football outside the Premier League. I've been very honest about that before. I watch a bit. I actually, I mean, I know a lot of the names via things like Football Manager and then watching comps and then kind of noticing them when I kind of see them in game. For example, Martin Batterino, who I think plays for Dinamo Zagreb, is going to be up against us tomorrow night. I know that name from Football Manager. I've seen the comps. Really interested to see how he looks against us tomorrow if he plays. This is where I'm going to need your help in the comment section. I have the comments open the whole time. And no, we won't just talk about Kudus. But I want you all to, send in your names. Players that we might know, might not know, don't troll because Football Manager will literally tell me if they're not a player. Or maybe some of them, to be fair, might not be in the database. But we're gonna go through. I'll show you how it's gonna look. I'll be here in the corner. And we've got Football Manager up here, ready to go through a whole list of players, and then we'll be sort of picking them via position, attributes, so certain things that we expect them to be good at. And there's other things, whether they should be right-footed, left-footed, we can pick that. Looking at their preferred foot, for example, things like this. Like we're going to be able to build what we hope is our perfect player that's going to fit Arsenal perfectly, and then come up with some names. And I'll write them down, and maybe we can actually do some more kind of scouting and building on them in another video. But this is why I'm doing this as a live stream. We might even be live till 6 o'clock. This could well be an hour stream, which will be, if not the first, I mean, one of the few we've ever done. And like I said, really, really want your names and thoughts. Like Lookman, for example. We all know quite a bit about Lookman, but sure, someone we could definitely look at from a Football Manager perspective. But a lot of this isn't, I mean, definitely give me names, but a lot of this is us putting the, how do I explain it? It's a lot of us is putting the requirements in for said player, whether it be a left winger, striker, central midfielder. I think we kind of should look at all three, and then trying to build, trying to find that player if they're out there. Maybe there's someone that we don't know about. Just find us someone, please, James. I know but we're going to give it a go. Just very quickly on the Cunha news, like I said, I did. Who understood the Thanos reference? When he picks up the gauntlet. Never mind. If you did, you did. Just briefly on Cunha, my overall thoughts were at the beginning of the window before the major injury crisis, which obviously Waneri was available and Gabby Jesus, was fit and obviously a senior player. My feeling was don't spend more than 50 million on this guy because I don't think he's quite the profile we need. Very good player, certainly an upgrade on a lot of what we have. But he was always going to be a very expensive acquisition from Wolves. They're going to want about 70 to 80 million minimum, I think. And I don't think, well, at the time, I didn't think at the beginning of it, I didn't think we should be paying more than 50. I'm more comfortable with the 65, 70 million pound fee now because we're just in such an extreme situation. And I actually think, the need for a striker with Jesus out for 9 months has become even more pressing. I still think we should be going for a right winger. I do. I still think we should go for a right winger so that Waneri can remain playing Erdegaard minutes in central midfield. Therefore, say we've got Brian and Mbeumo, for example. I think you bring in a Brian and Mbeumo, Trossard's found form, and then you either play Martinez down the middle, Havertz down the middle, or Trossard down the middle with Martinez down the left. And I think you've got something there. Or you hope that Havertz sort of eventually rediscovers form. We know that Arteta's always going to want to play him. So a big part of me kind of wants it to be a right winger for that also, because if you buy a striker, there's even more chance he moves Havertz back into midfield, which I don't want to see. So I think the right wing is the way to go. But if you're not going to do that, and it really is going to be a striker, which I understand is more pressing now because of the Jesus injury, I feel more comfortable about the Cunha signing than I certainly did maybe 3 weeks ago. I mean, this is 21st of Jan. So 3 weeks ago, the window opened. 70 million, I'm not sure about. I also said in the video on AFTV that, this has become a really messy situation. For anyone who doesn't know, by the way, where this has all come from, if you're only tuning into the news for the first time here, thank you for joining. Team News and Ticks has said by his patron that basically things have got messy with his contract with Wolves. He's agreed a deal, but he hasn't signed it. He's agreed terms with Arsenal, and he will join Arsenal if. I just realised I haven't got my lighting sorted. Oh, it's fine. We're gonna have Football Manager up in front of me the whole time anyway. He's agreed terms with Arsenal, and he won't actually sign the contract with Wolves until he knows whether he can or can't go to Arsenal, which is being made out that's his preference. This comes from Team News and Ticks. There were other reports that were saying that this Cunha stuff is bubbling, in the background, and that actually it's not kind of gone as plain sailing after the agreement of the contract as people would have thought. He's a very good player. Wolves will rightly demand a lot of money. He's an important player for them. They are in a fight right now. They lost last night. We'll be facing this weekend. It wouldn't be a cheap one to do. And I think a lot of people were going, well, if we're going to spend that kind of money on him, why not get Sesko? One's ready-made, Premier League proven. The other, I'm sure scouts and people who've watched Sesko a lot would say he's probably got a higher ceiling, Sesko, but is he ready to make the impact now? So that's what Arsenal will be weighing up. It's just disappointing it's taken so long to do anything in this window. 3 weeks in, it's pretty unacceptable, to be honest, that we are so far from even knowing anything about players. In fact, I think this time 2 years ago, or yesterday, 2 years ago, we'd signed Andrew Trossard. I remember that feeling like a slow window because of the Mudryk stuff. So yeah, Arsenal need to pick up the pace here. Cunha's an interesting one. Not sure 100% fits us. If we can get him for 50, 60 million, it would be a nice deal. I think that's where I am with it, but we won't get him for that much. It will cost more. Cunha makes perfect sense. In only one scenario, if we're willing to move Odegaard to the left 8 and have the Brazilians on number 10, he does feel like he's got like the profile to play in that kind of right 8 space, bombing on beyond Bukayo Saka when he's back fit, and giving us more dynamism. I know he's been like a second striker before, but I think he's more of a false 9 and a striker. But yeah, that'd be an interesting way to use him. Shotani says, get Cunha in for the City game, good consistent squad player in attack, try for another forward like Duran. And, West Ham went in for £57 million with a bid for John Duran. So the fact that they sort of see his player at that kind of level and that kind of fee, they might get him for 65, 70. There you go. I think Arsenal should be operating around that kind of fee. And you do wonder about the likes of Ryan Shirky leaving Lyon, I believe. And yeah, there's players out there. That's who we're going to talk about. Shout out to Max as always. I didn't leave his name long enough. There he is, doing amazing work on the channel as always. Show some love for Max. This is my office for people asking. Office is where I work. We've got a big up for Ryan. Absolutely. He's bigging up Max. There we go. Okay. Right. Should we get into it? Thank you for all the comments, super chats, and yeah, some names coming in. So, right, let's do it. Let's play Football Manager. I've never done this before. This is very much like off the cuff, on the spot. So if I just ramble for an hour, forgive me, basically. But I think this could be fun. And if it's not, you'll tell me, I've no doubt. So I just realized you can still hear me, right? That's not as fun. Maybe if we need to show something, we'll do that. It's nice to have me in the corner, no? Okay, so ignore all this. This is just, it's FM24. That's the other disappointing thing. They haven't actually updated the game. Yes, I do play Football Manager. I actually play on my iPad. This is the laptop version. They haven't updated it, which is really annoying. But this is the most up-to-date, what's the word? A database that the game has. So we're going to work with this. Now, let's start with the striker. Okay. In general, I'm just going to say, and it doesn't have to be, and we can always kind of tweak this, but I want to say Arteta typically, when you look at the Sesko links, the Vlahovic links, I want to say doesn't want anyone really below 6'1". In fact, Cunha's, I think, 6 foot. So let's go to 6 foot. I think he wants some kind of presence up there. In terms of attributes, don't know if you know, but they mark it out 20. So the highest you can get is 20 for an attribute. I think they've got to be at least a 14 in terms of passing. They've got to link up with the wingers. They've got to combine, drop into space, keep the ball. So I think that's a minimum requirement, that their passing is around a 14. Now, what we can do is widen the ball. What we could do is add a load of these filters and then widen it as we go on. So, for example, flair. Do they need? I mean, Havertz doesn't have much flair. I'd love to see what his flair is rated at. I mean, I'd give it like a 6. I mean, he doesn't really have any flair at all. Heading, I would imagine, probably needs to be. Oh, condition for 2 selected attributes. Oh, okay. So let's see what happens if I do that. Apologies. Right. So heading, I think, can be around a 12, 13. Needs to be all right. I'll tell you what we do need, actually. Where's finishing? Here we go. Finishing, I'm going to drop to a... Let's drop heading back to a 12. Let's get all the attributes we need first. You can see I'm doing this for the first time. I don't think we're too worried about dribbling, crossing, so we don't carry enough up the pitch. And we could do with a decent dribbler. Technique will be crucial. We'll get technique in there. This is all goalkeeping. Anticipation is always a big one, because they have to do the work, off the ball. And yeah, someone's just Taylor, sorry, it is out of 20 for people asking. So out of 20. Anything 15 or above is they're very good at it. Pace, I think we've got to talk about that. Strength. Off the ball. In fact, let's remove anticipation. Let's do off the ball. Positioning. Right. So, obviously, if they're all of 15, there's no one like that. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff. So, oh, my word. Okay. So, let's bring pace to a 30. I don't think it's crucial. Passing, I think it's got to be quite high. We'll give it a 14. Heading, we'll give it a 12. Finishing, I'm going to go down to 14. I still think, we need some goal scorers if we're talking about a striker. Technique, we can bring down to 13. Strength, we can bring that down to 13 as well. Off the ball, 13. I'm just trying to include as many people as possible here, and positioning will go to 13. And there's absolutely no one. Brilliant. I've got too many things in here then. Let's get rid of strength. Oh, can I? Yes. Oh no, I've got rid of too many things. I'm really doing this for the first time, people. Passing, heading, finishing, technique, pace. Okay, we found some names. So just a reminder, we've gone for passing, heading, finishing, technique, and pace. These are 5 attributes I think will be pretty important. The 2 most important things, passing and finishing. They need to link up play. They need to finish moves. And of course, this guy is going to pop up, Dusan Vlahovic, who, is 24 years old, because this game is obviously at July 2023. Big thing is there, his finishing. We know, really strong player, 6'3". Forget the price tag. We know that this was one that there could even be a loan to be done. We know that he's not really favoured at Juventus at the moment. Passing is decent. I mean, basically, when you look at those attributes there, Dusan Vlahovic, you can kind of see why we were kind of looking at him, 3 years ago, because I think even today we're looking for that exact profile of player. And I think Havertz, sometimes we're asking him to try and do the things that Vlahovic probably could do. Now, Evan Ferguson's a really interesting one, because here we go. He's going to be a 15 to 20 in his finishing. First touch, very, very decent. Passing, there's quite a range there, but strength is good. Pace isn't bad, could get faster. Acceleration, not too bad either. Evan Ferguson's a really interesting one, because he could be available on loan. He's not really playing for Brighton at the moment. And I remember when he first broke through, I think everyone thought this was like the next Harry Kane. Everyone thought this guy is, he had this instinct for finishing. He used his body well. Back to goal was very good. Could play, front facing and back facing goal. Really, really good. He was tall. He was strong for his age. But now a few years on, he's not really kicked on. He's not starting games every week for Brighton. He needs a loan. But do you? And I mean this with all the reflecting well to Brighton. They just went and beat Man United 3-1. We couldn't do that the other day. But do you loan upwards? Do a Brighton, let a Ferguson move on up to Arsenal? And then what do we do? I mean, we're going to play him. So, He's 18, which means he turned 19 in October. So he's 20 now. 20 is still very, very young. I'm not convinced about that. Now, a few more names coming up that I know you won't be convinced of. Fabio Silva is one of them. And I can see this from Taylor. Yeah, no expert on the player, but according to Football Manager, he'd excel in things like dribbling, first touch, passing would be very good. Finishing, there seems to be a cap there. Aggression, composure, determination, teamwork could be decent. Strength. Now, if I'm not mistaken, where's he been? This is the player that was at Wolves. Yeah, absolutely not. I was never impressed with him in the Premier League. I remember he was at Porto. Then, yeah, signed for a lot of money. I remember. No. Yeah, don't go near that one. Joshua Zirkzee so funny because, yeah, I remember when we wanted him in the summer and I looked at a lot of his attributes and he did excel for quite a few things. I've got to say, when he came on against the Emirates, I thought he did look quite strong and I thought some of his passing range was pretty good. Played one lovely pass, I remember, in the game. He's clearly a technical footballer. You can see that in some of his finishes for Man United. But, yeah, not he's at Man United, and that's aging as one we shouldn't have really done anyway. Mattis Tell, winger / striker, 6 foot, pace, first touch, passing, all that's pretty good. Acceleration, dynamic player. Seeing the comps, it just looks a really exciting watch. The thing I'd say about Mattis Tell is he seems available, and they've been in touch by Munich with Chelsea over an Nkunku deal. So they clearly want to do a swap in that situation. I'm not really sure we got anyone to swap, but you do wonder. Here's QWERTY coming in saying we should be all over Tell. I do wonder whether Arsenal are missing again an opportunity here. They're looking for someone a little bit more proven. I mean, so he's 9. Yeah, he's 19 now. If we're doing the maths right. So he's 19 now. 2005 he was born. I mean, that was after we went invincible. But, I mean, there we go. There's one. Yeah. Talented player. And you wonder why when you see Chelsea and others getting busy like Man City with Marmoush, why we're not a part of conversations for these kind of players. Yeah, obviously Mbolo mentioned there, he's been around a long time. Alvaro Morata, I think, is at AC Milan doing really well now. To be fair, he's always looked good in the Spanish side, or decent in the Spanish side. Patrick Schick, we know of his numbers not too long ago. Mehdi Taremi's now at Inter Milan, but I think starts all the time. Tammy Abraham, we once wanted. Strand Larsen's ended up at Wolves, and he's actually done quite well. So as you can see, this is a player at Celta Vigo. Wolves picked up, and he's actually done pretty well there. Okay, I think Danny Welbeck. All right, I think it's time we widen the search a little bit. And I think we just remove the heading element, drop the passing, bring finishing down a touch. We can remove everything else. Now, that should open the pool massively, and it does. I wonder what Alexander Isak fell short on. Passing's a 13. Maybe that's it. Maybe we had passing up as a 14. But as you can see, very technical player. Flair, 17. The game seems a lot more assured on their numbers around him. I mean, these are the kind of thing when we're talking about Alexander Isak being the guy we absolutely want, we're talking about these kind of things: dribbling 17, finishing 15. By the way, for anyone who's I've seen one or two comments. For anyone who's like mocking Football Manager, their scouting is sensational. Their ability to recognize the trajectory of a player is absolutely top. Yeah, I mean, this is a good point, Francis. This shows that stance on everything if Isak isn't there. This isn't really stats; it's more ratings done by scouts. But yes, I see what you're saying. But I mean, yeah, the game knows. I mean, Alexander Isak was one that the game picked up on years and years and years ago. I remember when he was a youngster at Dortmund, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there we go. He was at Dortmund. So, yeah. Top player, Isak. And these are the kind of attributes you're looking for: that raw pace, that acceleration, still decent strength, 6'3", off the ball, 16 as well. Big thing. Arteta cares about that. Anticipation, 15. These are big things that will matter on and off the ball. You can see why we supposedly really want him. I can't believe though that dropping that has only opened the world, has opened our world to Alexander Isak. A lot of the same names. Well, Ivan Toney popping up. This is interesting. This was asked in a super chat. Would you bring Ivan Toney in? Would you bring Ivan Toney in on like a loan to do a job? Last summer, I think a few people would have taken that deal. 6 months on, Jorginho Ruto, we know, ended up at Brighton. But again, a really good example of where Football Manager, its scouting is pretty decent in terms of its recognition of its potential, of these players' potential value. Look, he's done well at Brighton. He's been a starter for Brighton, scored some big goals. I think he scored some big goals, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, look at some of the potential attributes. You can see he looks like a really talented player in the Premier League, playing for a Brighton side that are flying. Okay, let's remove all this. In fact, let's even remove the height and open the pool to most. Now, jump in if you know about a lot of these players. Darwin Nunez. I mean, this is where the game can get it wrong. This is where the game can get it wrong, people. But obviously, scored the 2 late goals the other day. And has been a really good impact player for Liverpool. But a really good point that Turkish made was they signed him for like 70 million and it hasn't worked. So they've just made him a squad player and they've just brought others to come in too. That's just really good. That's really good squad building and recognizing that, 60 million can sometimes, be wasted perhaps. Not wasted. Sorry, really harsh. Not wasted, but maybe he's not the answer up front that you always needed, but you just use him in a different way. And I think that's definitely something that, Arsenal need to learn from when it comes to Kai Havertz. So 65 million didn't work. Fine. Use him as a squad player, see what else is out there. Iñaki Williams, the older brother of Nico Williams. Yusufa Moukoko, young player, 5'10". I remember the hype when he was a 16-year-old getting his debut for Dortmund, maybe even 15. Let me know if any of you know about Moukoko in the comments. I'd love to know your thoughts on this player. A little bit more dynamic, a little bit shorter, a little bit more. Listen, from the comps, looks a very exciting player. Could probably play out wide as well. Got real pace. And then we're getting into names that, look, I'm not going to pretend I know all these players, right? But Kali Muendo, again, tell me about these guys, people. Tell me. I mean, the game seems to, well, he's, okay, so, it was his birthday yesterday. There we go. So he'll have turned 23 yesterday. So he's, because he started, so he turned 23 yesterday. Heading is good, dribbling is good, finishing potentially all right, passing doesn't look great, technique, pace, vision, work rate, all that stuff. Work rate is an important one we didn't mention earlier. Tell me about these players. If there's any of you, this is very much I'm opening the floor to all of you. Come in and jump in with names and let me know. Let me know what you think of these players, or if you know others. So I get distracted by the comments every time I look over. Reader says something's been tweeted by Sky. Oh, well, look at Retegi. See with Retegi, no, is that, I've spelt it wrong, have I? No, I haven't. This is the Italian. Well, he doesn't seem to be in the game. Anyway. Yeah, he wasn't good for Italy at the Euros, but I mean, maybe he's better in the league, but we'll appreciate the suggestions. Some people are saying that Carve Solokol of Sky has tweeted. Should we find out? Should we see what's being said? Just having a little look. Bear with me, everyone. Carve Solokol. This is the wrong person. Carve Cunha. Has he tweeted about Cunha? Is that what you're all telling me? No, I can't see anything. So let me know. I've just had a little look, but I can't sort of see anything doing the rounds. But if it does, just let me know. Eduardo Hagen aggregated. Okay, let's have a look what Eduardo Hagen had to tweet. Eduardo, thank you. Yes, you're right. Justin from Carve and Darmesheth as well. Also keeping an eye on Mateus Cunha's situation at Wolves in this transfer window. Yes, we knew that. Fabrizio Romano has said Mateus Cunha's situation, open ahead of final days of the transfer window. Arsenal's still there, and not only as revealed this morning. So I think it means plenty of clubs are waiting to see what's going on with Mateus Cunha. That was Romano 10 minutes ago. Okay, cool. So there's stuff going on. Right, I like this. Lois Apenda. If I star them, right, there's some I'm going to save. Lois Apenda, Adeyemi. There's some good names we mentioned. Noah Lang, Ayari. What other names we got? I'm just saving some names that some of you have come through with. Interesting. Callum Wender's linked to replace Marmouche at Frankfurt. There we go. So that's interesting. Okay, I've starred a load of them so I can remember to come back to some I definitely want to go through. Right, back to it. Where were we? Brian and Bemo is, I think, knowing Kudus probably, knowing Kudus isn't going to happen this window, and we all know how much I want him. I think this is a player that you do go spend 65, 70 million pounds on from Brentford. I just think you do. I think you go big, and and I think he's proven in the Premier League he can score goals. He's 24, 25 now. Really, really talented player. Can play on the touchline, can play on the inside, can play out front, can play out on the left. He's a really, really good player. Really direct, can play counter. That's the other thing. He offers a counter-attacking transition threat that we don't have in this team. He gives us that ability to go from one end of the pitch to the other really quickly. He's been doing it well for Brentford, and I think he'd fit in really, really well into what we do. I do. I think this is the guy you got to go pick up above anybody else. But I just don't. I just think after what Thomas Frank said the other day, he said there's just no chance of him going anywhere. Brentford are doing well. I think he's happy there. Apparently, he doesn't want to leave London. That's what some of the ITKs are saying. Yeah, and that's the thing. This from Taylor, and Bemo in the nine has looked good for Brentford at times. Yeah, so you could play him starting up front and having Bukayo Saka on the right with Martinelli on the left if you're going to go. Yeah, if you're going to go for that kind of profile of front three, less physicality, but he's still strong. He's still quick, still uses his body well. You just haven't got that kind of 6'3" presence. Calvert-Lewin. Turkish, this is absolutely what's happened. I'm so sick of people saying, well, who's out there, and Arsenal doing nothing, that I've just decided I will bring the names myself. And Jason Ato, Mikel Arteta, and Josh Kroenke can just watch this video and pick who they want. That's where we are with this. And we're kind of, blundering our way through it, but that's fine. It's what it is. I'm trying to help here. I'm trying to come with solutions. So yes, you're you're spot on, Turkish. Skullduggery agrees. I really am. Listen, this is what it's about now. We're 28 minutes in. I'm coming with names, and here's one: Calvert-Lewin. Yeah, I don't care. Let me ask you a serious question. You know that goal he scored against Tottenham the other day, where he weaved on his left foot. I think he was on his right foot, onto his left foot, back onto his right foot. You see that goal he scored against Tottenham? Does Kai Havertz score that goal? I'm being deadly serious. Does Kai Havertz score that goal? I think Gabriel Jesus can score that goal. Does Kai Havertz score that goal? Now, Kai Havertz, I think the closest I've seen is that goal he scored against Chelsea, his second one, when he sort of got it in the box, turned out of his feet. But it wasn't like spinning defenders. It was just kind of like touch, drag to set, and then rolled into the corner. I've seen desperate clubs do desperate things. And this would not surprise me, is all I'm going to say. It would not surprise me. We've been linked before. You don't need me to tell you about Calvert-Lewin, but Football Manager seems to think he's quite a good player. He is a good. Can we say Calvert-Lewin actually is a good player? The problem is that he's got serious injury problems, and he's not at the level that we're looking for. But he's still a good player. Like, if we're trying to justify some of the players that play for us, I mean, it shouldn't be too hard to say Calvert-Lewin's very decent. Now, people mentioned Adeyemi. We know his pace and acceleration is a big thing, and it's mainly off that left 5'11", left footer. I think this is what you're looking at: finishing, acceleration, pace. Really direct. I thought he looked quite good in the Champions League final. I know he missed some chances, but I thought he was causing Real Madrid problems, and I don't think we have that threat in our team. So yeah, definitely a player that I would be considering, even for the sake of another left-footed option in the team. Could he play on the right? I mean, very rare that you see a player, kind of known as a really strong on the left, really strong up front, but just non-existent on the right wing. I mean, has he ever played on the right wing? Maybe something we can quickly look up, but yeah, really, really strange one in that sense. Does he have the flair to play out on the right and beat players, or is it just he's really direct on his left foot, head down, providing width, getting in behind? I don't know. So yeah, Adeyemi, certainly one. We're getting to loads of other names. Brian Brobby from Ajax. We were linked with him, I remember. What a player. We'll never get him, obviously, but what a player. Jonathan David has been linked with us quite a few times. And he's still young. So he's just turned 25. I don't really know anything about him. I mean, I feel like his numbers are quite good, but I just feel like I'm always quite, unimpressed. When I sort of watch the comps, or I sort of hear people do real breakdowns on him, but I might be wrong. At Lille, yeah, let me know. Daniel Marlin, we know he ended up at Villa now. Can play on the right, can play up front. They've got better forward options than us. Known for his dribbling, finishing, technique is good. Of course, he was at Arsenal. He was in our academy before we let him go for 2.5 million, and he moves to Dortmund 4 years later, for 26 million pounds. Sick. Yeah, what's he going to bring to Villa? Flair, pace, acceleration, potentially decent finisher, potentially decent dribbler. Now we're entering into names that I'm underwhelmed by. I don't really know either. Although Ademola Lookman, not a striker but a left winger. Pace, dribbling, first touch, passing's decent. Off the ball needs to be good. I think you've got to work hard to win that Atalanta team, if I'm not mistaken. They are a high intensity side. He's got Premier League experience. I mean, before ending up at Atalanta, he was at Leipzig, so he's played his football in Italy. He's played his football in Germany. He was at Leicester briefly before they went down. He was at Fulham. I think they went down too. He was at Everton. They didn't go down. And they obviously picked him up from Charlton. So he's had a wealth of experience from the Champions League to 3 Premier League clubs, German football and Italian football. And now he's really looking the real deal. I mean, what's really good about Lookman is his numbers. I mean, apart from the fact that 5'9", strong player, good pace. He's got kind of the attributes we'd want. His numbers at Atalanta are really, really impressive. I've been told to check Fabrizio's latest tweet, so go on then. Let's do it. Let's have a little look. Marcus Rashford's camp had a meeting with Barcelona director today. Cool. And I did catch the other tweet about Cunha, so we're just waiting to see. There's nothing else. Yeah, I'm just reading Mikel Arteta's comments. He said he had no other choice but to play Partey right back and Timber right centre back. I strongly disagree. But anyway, let's not go on to all that. Right. Where are we, everyone? Can Lookman play as a striker? Yes, I believe he can. I mean, that's what the game says, that he can very much. Prefers to be on the left in a 2-man pairing. Okay, that's the game. Cool. And he's at a good age now. I mean, we're now looking at... Hey, he's got the same birthday as me. Yeah. How cool is that? That's maybe wanting more. Yeah, same birthday as me. Lol. So he is... Must be 27 now. Yeah, because he would have turned 26 in 2020. Yeah, okay, got it. Yeah, he's 27 now. Okay, Taiwan Wanyi, handful, decent player. Look what Chris Wood's doing, keeping him out the side. Patrick Schick, a few people saying he's massively disrespected. Strength, finishing, technique, the things he's really credited for. 6'3". One of the things the career stats tells you is how he did that. Bayer Leverkusen, 21-22 season, he had 24 goals in 27 Bundesliga games. But that's his best output by a country mile in terms of league football. 11 goals in Serie A for Sampdoria, never got off the mark at Roma, 10 goals in 22 for Leipzig, which isn't bad. Went on loan, which kind of explains why Leverkusen picked him up. 9 goals and then 24. So, yeah, like I said, it's an old database. I mean, this is we're going all the way back to 2021-22 season. We're now in 2025. We know that he was very good at the Euros. I think that was, yeah, so that makes sense. So this season, 24 and 27, 24 goals and 27 would have come just off the back of his Euro campaign. I think he was the top scorer, if not one of them. So yeah, good player, but I think we're probably looking for more. Is this really it in terms of I've got the box interested in ticked. Now that opens it up a little bit. So let's not just look at players that are in game interested in joining us. I'm joking. Randall Colomwani. So yeah, people aren't keen on this one. I saw online where we were linked. He has been linked strongly with Man United. I could see them doing something around Hoyland or Xerxes late in January, whether it be a loan for one of them or something, and bring in Colomwani because it could be a loan. Sorry, my phone made a big screeching sound there. So yeah, I could see him coming to the Premier League. I just don't think it will be Arsenal. Lautaro Martinez was mentioned by someone. I mean, look how highly he ranks for a lot of these things. And this is where, as much as I rate Football Manager massively. Now I'm being told to look at Ben Jacobs' tweet. I rate Football Manager's database massively. But the one thing I'll say is that every time I've watched Lautaro Martinez in the flesh, and I was in Milan for the Inter-Arsenal game, I wasn't that impressed by him. I think they started him and Thuram, if I'm not wrong. They rested Marcus Thuram. I just wasn't that impressed. And I wasn't that impressed during the World Cup. But clearly a talented player. If you look at his history of league goals, 21 goals in the 22-23 campaign, 21 goals in 35 the year before that, 17 and 14. So he clearly can score goals. He absolutely clearly can score goals. He's rated really highly for his finishing, for his first touch, for his heading. Passing is not great, but technique superb. Off the ball, you love to see it. Leadership, flair, all these things. I mean, this is a really good set of stats. Really fit player, which you want. You need availability is also shown in the amount of league games at 27, 35, 38, 35, 38. That is availability. Now, that is in recent, that doesn't include last season, but still good numbers. 5'9", so he's not that kind of big physical profile we're looking for, but actually the type of striker I really like. I love Lautaro Martinez. It's going to cost you a hell of a lot of money to get him out of Inter Milan. But you got to think that one of these players is gettable. All these players will go, oh, we can't get him. Oh, we can't get him. Oh, we can't get him. Surely, and I'm not saying Lautaro Martinez is the one, but surely like someone is gettable. If you just pay the money. And if he is a world-class striker, as Pineapple says, then do you just go pay the money? But again, I don't think you're getting him out of Inter Milan, and I don't think you're getting him for less than 100 million, even if you could. So there we go. Right. Martinez isn't an eye test player, says Victor. Ask Fitty Judge Mo. Martinez is not good. Right. So some Evan Ferguson news according to Ben Jacob. Okay. Evan Ferguson is one to watch in the final days of the window. Brighton still deciding whether to sanction an exit. Priority has been on Ferguson's fitness. West Ham have already inquired. Bournemouth now open to a move with Evan Nilsson and Enezu now injured. That'd be a really good move for him going to Bournemouth. Ferguson also on Arsenal's radar, but their Premier League loan spot's currently full, so need to buy as it stands if they choose to advance. No break clause on Sterling's loan. Buying Ferguson and actually investing in that profile of player would feel a lot better to me than just take him on loan, hoping that a 20-year-old does the job that our £65 million, 25, 26-year-old can't. I'll be honest. I'm just saying it really straight to the point there when it comes to the Ferguson stuff. Yeah. If we want to buy him, I'd be more encouraged. But alone, I don't really see how that works for any party. He doesn't guaranteed start for us. Brighton will want to send him somewhere he's actually going to play football. And then what? He plays well, and then we give him straight back, and then he's a £120 million player. I just don't think it makes sense for anyone involved. So, no, I would not be looking to loan Ferguson. If you buy him, all right, I kind of get it. We've got to talk about this guy, Victor Osimhen. Should we look at his numbers? So it was 26 goals in 32 games when Napoli won the league, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because they didn't win it last season. It's 26 and 32, 14 and 27 the year before that. So his numbers got better and better. 13 and 26 for Lille in one season in France. And look at that, one season in France and £62 million they spent. But they spent it well because of the goals. Only now there's obviously distance between Osimhen and Napoli. He's now gone to Galatasaray. Simply didn't have to play him because they got Lukaku and they wanted to move on with the Conte project. And he's a player that, you know, I mean, when I listen to like Ben Mattinson speak, George off the Cannon podcast with Alex from the Different Knock, they all desperately want Osimhen, and I can't understand for the life of me how we haven't picked him up. Even Real Madrid could do with an Osimhen. Even they don't have like an out-and-out striker. They're trying to make it work with what they got because Belling was a false nine, and Mbappe's world-class, could play across the front three. Vinicius, Rodrigo, I get it. But, you know, there are some clubs, I think, that could do with an out-and-out nine. You know, the judge says Osimhen is overrated, but people I really, really trust in terms of their footballing opinions, scouting opinions, say this guy's the guy. So what is it? Is there something else that doesn't, check boxes? Is it his, I don't know what it is. Is it a personality thing? Is it a style thing? Yeah, as in stylistically, do we not want to go for someone who's just such a box threat and is sort of looking for goals more than doing everything else, kind of in terms of build up for the team? But who's to say he can't? And you listen to others speak, like I said, Ben Mattinson and George, and they say that this is someone who can do all of it. Yeah, it's a stretch. I've seen him score some great goals for Napoli, and he literally has walked into a club that haven't won a league title in years and years and years, and then brought it home to them. I mean, he knows the assignment, and I think he's got a clause whereby basically he's at Galatasaray, but if someone comes in like an Arsenal, a Real Madrid, I think Chelsea, or one of them, I can't remember who else, if they come in, then they can be released from his loan and he can go. So why do we not want to do that deal? I can't imagine with how they've struggled to offload him that they're still asking for 100 million. Even through the summer, his price tag was sort of collapsing. Surely at 65 million pounds, you can get a Victor Osimhen, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Right. Let's not talk about Balogun. It's not really happened for him, Monica, has he? Has it? Brennan Johnson. Hey. Look, we've gone through a lot there. I mean, João Pedro, I think it's more likely we get Ferguson because he's not starting. And then you look at Ferguson's ceiling. What is it compared to Pedro's? Pedro's really he's a really good fit for what we want and need up front. Can pass, can move, can drift wide, can drop into the pockets, can lead the line, can stretch the defense. I really, really like him. Really skillful, really, really good player, João Pedro. But you're not getting him in this window, and you're spending a lot of money if you are. I think he ends up at Liverpool eventually. I think he's like a really proper Liverpool signing. I think he'll end up there. And yeah, Lois Openda has been mentioned by a few people. I'll just go for the latest comment from Carl. This is someone that Turkish really wanted, I think. If I'm not mistaken, what were his numbers? 21 goals in 38 games for Lons before going to Leipzig, and I think his numbers at Leipzig were pretty good, but I haven't obviously seen yet. Well, the games don't quite have it. I could do a quick Google. Should we find out? You won't be able to see it, but let me just quickly look up Lois Openda Transfermarkt. That's the way to do it. Stats for this current campaign. Let's have a little look. My internet's doing well to hold out with all this. I will just say that. Or have I spoken too soon? Because that's not loading. Okay, here we go. 6 goals and 7 assists which is 13 goals or assists in 17 games. It's not bad at all. So clearly he's able to get involved in build-up. If you're getting 7 assists, you're doing something right in terms of the build-up, creative side of the game. I'm just waiting for last season. Last season, 24 goals and 7 assists. So 31 goals and assists in 34 games. Okay, Lewis Openda's output is really, really good. Yeah, really, really good. So let's look at the player in more detail. Football Manager has him as very, very quick, very good acceleration with dribbling and finishing up there. First touch is good. Heading is good as well, which is, yeah, interesting. Someone who's 5'10", fair enough. Passing, not expected to be ranked the highest in the game, but penalty taking technique, very decent too. Decision making and aggression is up there. When I look at him, seems a strong build. I remember the couple goals he scored, I think, at the Etihad in the Champions League for Leipzig last season. Talented player. What would it cost to get him out of Leipzig? I mean, we're talking about Leipzig. Where is he? This guy. This is the guy we supposedly actually want from Leipzig. Football Manager has him down as, quick for sure. The pace and acceleration is up there. Strength, very decent. Determination, aggression. Finishing, though, yeah, it's sort of hit and miss. They've got something called, long shots. When I look at some of the goals he scored, long shots at 3 to 11 feels pretty low. First touch good, heading good, passing and penalty taking, all with the potential to be up there too. So 2 potential strikers from Leipzig, and we don't have one that we're happy with, but there's 2 over there that we'd be very, very happy with. And look, we've gone through others, haven't we? Marcus Thuram has been mentioned and I think was loosely linked, but I just don't see us doing that. Although 6'4", very strong, very quick, good passer of a ball. His dribbling's nice. I've always liked Thuram when I've watched him. I think he's a real handful. And I think he's technically very good, very intelligent footballer. Yeah, I could see why Arsenal would want him. But we've got to remember, I mean, he's 25 at this point of the game, which means he's 27 now in real life. So you're getting someone, who'd be coming in to do the job absolutely now. But again, it's going to be the same as with Lautaro Martinez we talked about earlier. Why would Inter Milan let this go? I mean, where are Inter Milan in the league? They're second in Serie A. 3 points behind Napoli, but they've got a game in hand. Yeah, they're just never going to let go a key player like that. Gonzalo Ramos, a good example of buying too soon. I think he literally had like one good season. Oh, I'm wrong. A couple seasons at Benfica, but 90 goals in 30 was a standout. Obviously looked very good when he came off Portugal at the Euros. Or was it the World Cup? And actually, was Sesko's... No, Sesko's form was definitely the Euros. I think Gonzalo Ramos maybe looked good at the World Cup. Anyway, yeah, went to PSG, hasn't quite worked for him. So yeah, I mean, these are names. Look, Matheus Cunha, who we've obviously talked about, rated highly for most all-round game, really. But look, this is my point. Even Football Manager's kind of recognizing that he's more of a striker, and if he's off the left, it's a little bit kind of, more on the inside. Like I say, he's playing in the front three, on the left of a front three and a 3-4-3. That's I think the kind of player you're looking at. I don't think he's a touchline winger. So if we get him, he's replacing Havertz in the 11, and I'm not having Havertz in midfield. And look, there's more. Victor Boniface has been mentioned, 22 years old, very strong, dribbling good, passing decent, first touch, good pace. He's one who's been mentioned, of course, at Bayer Leverkusen. Elio Wahi we've been linked with. Vitor Roque, I don't know if he's still at Barcelona, but maybe he wasn't getting a lot of game time at one point. Yeah, there's names. Santiago Jimenez, his numbers were good at Feyenoord. I think the point of this exercise, everyone, Gianluca Scamacca was doing well at Atalanta. I don't know if he still is. Well, okay, that doesn't tell us anything. I don't know if he still is, but that was a player. Victor Gyökeres. Let's see what the game says. Very quick, very strong. Natural fitness is great. Top finisher. They've got no doubt about his finishing. Passing, meh. Technique, yeah, pretty good, I think. Dribbling, pretty good, I think. Work rate, absolutely fantastic. And you've got to have that again to play in this Arsenal team. So Victor Gyökeres rated very highly on the game. And a player who I think must be 26 now. Yeah, 26. So look, there's more names. If I scroll through, there are more names that are going to keep popping up. Maximilian Bayer, don't know who he is. Yeah, Terra Moffi, Raul de Thomas, Memphis Depay, Alvaro Rodriguez, Ollie Watkins. We're not going to get Solanke. And look, I'm not saying these are all players we should definitely be signing. I'm not saying that. But there's so many players out there, most of whom their name I'm sure we recognise. Dovbyk. Yeah, Dovbyk is how you pronounce it. Yeah. Iliman Ndiaye, who ended up at Everton. Look at that goal he scored the other day. Lookman we mentioned. Johan Visser, subject to a bid by Nottingham Forest because they had an injury, so they went out and they're trying to address it with Visser coming in as well. There are a lot of footballers here. You can see Antoine Semenyo, we talked about him. Strength, pace, intelligence, good on the ball, can play across the front three. Really brave footballer, gets the ball, wants to take players on. Look at that goal he scored at the bridge. Yeah, terrific player as well. So there's lots of them, people. There's lots of them. I think you get my point. I'm still going, and there's still names I recognise, like Guirassy, Edouard, Gnonto, Welbeck. Now, look, I'm not saying every name that I've said we should go pick up. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying to everyone. Sorry, my eyes are a bit sore from staring all that. I know it will help. I should have had these on the whole time. I'm not saying that Arsenal should go and sign all these players, that all of them are good enough to start, go spend whatever it's going to take, bring them in. But, we put in some basic attributes there, which were basically, we removed them in the end, but basically be good at passing, be a decent enough finisher. We added some others like heading and work rate or whatever. And there's so many names out there that you just don't know how Arsenal haven't, I don't know, haven't been more active up till now, haven't just gone through all these names, sent scouts off, watched them all, and got to the very last day of December of 2024, knowing, right, we're going for this guy, then we're going for this guy, going for this guy in week 1. If we don't get him, we'll go for this guy in week 2. If we don't get him, we'll go for this guy in week 3. And if something changes and the guy wanting a week 1 pops up, which might be what happened with Matheus Cunha, then you go and do that. But for it to be this quiet, I just think is really disappointing. 21 days in, quite literally 3 days in as well. Let's go through. I've started a load of messages and we've got some super chats. So we'll do the final 8 minutes going through these. Some are telling me to go look at some players' names, and I will do that. But there's some that if they're not the most well-known names in this Football Manager particular database download I have, won't pick them all up. Just watching it's worth knowing that I won't have everyone here. Right. We've read this. Tritania, thank you very much. Let's see if we do go for Cunha. Anurag says, I like Cunha. At this point, we just need bodies. So anyone except Vlahovic and Nico, who are just massively overrated, should be fine. Vlahovic is even a downgrade on Havertz, in my opinion. Big words from Anurag there. Look, I watched enough of Vlahovic. I'm inclined to disagree. I think he's more of a brute and will get more stuck into teams, be more of someone for our midfielders to target when we are trying to break teams down a low block, hoping that half chance falls to someone. You're going to want it to be Vlahovic over Kai Havertz. But if you watch him loads, I'll respect your opinion. And fine. The last thing we want to do is be bringing players in that are a downgrade on Kai Havertz and players that we're not even 100% sure. Now, I know there's the element of squad building. I know there's the element of, well, we need to just get players in, even if they're not better than Havertz. We should need other bodies in. I get that too. But I think it'd be a real shame if we passed up this opportunity to actually bring in someone we were genuinely excited by and try to kickstart our season. NC USA Ghana says, just joined briefly on lunch break. Did James already cover the fact that we won't sign anyone before the 31st of January? No, but you said it. There you go. Unstoppable says, James, do you really think we can get Cunha before the window closes? No, I don't actually. I'm not convinced whatsoever that we're going to get Matheus Cunha. I think that if he makes a real fuss and refuses to train and basically puts in a transfer request and doesn't sign his new deal at Wolves, I think he might force them to agree something around 65, 70 million pounds. But I don't think we want to spend that kind of money on someone we're not absolutely convinced by. I think it's more likely we spend that kind of money on Sesko and just convince Leipzig to let him go a little bit sooner. So yeah, I'm not convinced whatsoever that we're going to. Sorry, I took your comment off. I'm not convinced that we're going to get Cunha before the window closes, if I'm really honest. But I'm at the stage where I would like him a lot more than I would have at the beginning of Jan. Rishi, thanks for the Lowe's Appender shout. We did go through him. Steve says Amy we should have picked up last season to compete with Martinelli. I hear it, and we did talk about him and see what Football Manager had to say about him. Rampage says, is Noah Lang doing anything recently? Let's have a little look how the game feels about Noah Lang. They should certainly know about this player. Yeah, PSV. Is he still at PSV? I think he is. Here we go. Right and left winger, known for his dribbling, first touch, long shots. Yeah, I knew flair would be good. Passing, yeah, not bad. Penalty taking technique, work rate vision, which is good to see. Pace and stamina important too. Agility looks good. Bravery, aggression, all the things we're going to want. Yeah, good player and good suggestion. Rampage. Is it one we can do? I don't know. I don't know if it's one we can do. Well, look, again, at some point when you start acting like Arsenal, when you start acting like a big club and just jumping in and going, we want your player. They'll go, well, we want 80 million. We go, okay, we don't care. We want him. So let's shake on a deal now. And you don't want to do that for the wrong player. I totally understand. But at some point, you want to see Arsenal kind of throw their weight around a little bit and go, listen, we're Arsenal Football Club. If we want a player and a player wants to join, we're going to do our best to really make that happen. And actually just, I don't want to say bully clubs in the market, but just, it's every time we link to the player, it's, well, they're doing well, so they're not going to want to sell them, or, oh, they're doing badly, so, there's no way they'll sell them because they need that player. I mean, at what point can an Arsenal just, like I said, flex a little bit and get the players they want and do it quickly? Armin says, Ayari. Let's see. Can't see him on the game, if I'm honest. But I'll take your word for it. Taha Ayari. No, I can't. No, can't find him. Sorry, Armin, but I'll do some research on that player if I must. So do you know, I always wonder that there's going to be names that are trying to just catch me out. Can't see anyone for this name. Sorry, Ryan. Although, is your profile pic a bit of a giveaway? But there we go. KD, hope you're good, my friend. What about Mohamed Amura? Nothing popping up in the game either. Sorry, this is why they need to update the game as quickly as possible and release Football Manager 2025. Yeah, nothing on those players that you mentioned. Sorry. Check Schick's goals this season. You'll love it. Yeah, I'll go have a watch, KD. Thanks for another super chat. I thought he was great at the Euros. I think he's, like, profile-wise, quite a good fit. But is he at the quality? Is that guaranteed needed quality? And how much is it going to cost us? I mean, Patrick Schick, if I'm not mistaken. Should we see his numbers? Player profile. Bear with me one sec, everyone. Sorry. Current season. God, my eyes are. When you stare at a screen for so long, your eyes just start to, like, close and sting. Right, here we go. 28 years old, Patrick Schick. 12 goals in 15 games in the Bundesliga right now, playing for Leverkusen. Yeah, he's in really good form. 16 goals in 23 games in all competitions. It's really good numbers, yeah. So I don't think we could be turning down a player like that if he became available, but how much would he be available for? And, at 28, does he necessarily get better? Or do we want to go for a Sesko type and we pay that a little bit more in the hope that they're just going to keep improving and grow into what Isak has grown into at Newcastle? And thank you very much, Cooper, for the super sticker. I really, really appreciate it a lot. All right, everyone, we're going to leave it there exactly on the hour mark. We've touched on a lot of players there. We just went through Football Manager basically, and just went through a list of names just to So let me get rid of there we go. Just to see how many players are out there, how much the database can throw out there in terms of players that actually fit the mold of what we're looking at. We started with, a pretty specific sort of range of attributes we needed and quality, and then we sort of moved towards something a little bit more vague until we looked at the whole market and saw what names popped up. The point is there are some names out there, and I think Arsenal could spend £50 million on a player that does improve, does make a difference. That will get better in an Arsenal shirt, but ultimately is going to add much needed quality and squad depth. At the moment, we have Sterling, Havertz, Trossard, Martinelli. Add a striker or a forward or something, right? Then Waneri comes back. You got Waneri, Erdegaard, Partey, Jorginho, Rice, Marino. Calafiori, White, Tomiyasu return, and you add them to Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Lewis Skelly, Zinchenko, Kivior, Kieran Tierney. And the squad can be in decent shape with the FA Cup gone, with I'm sure, one big sort of go at the Carabao Cup, though I'm sure we'll go out maybe valiantly at best. But then ultimately we'll focus on trying to chase Liverpool, but the Champions League too. I think that squad could have enough, but we need to get in a forward that for me can play on the right, but otherwise is just a player who ultimately adds immense quality to our side and depth, but quality, and pushes Havertz and pushes Martinelli. Will that be not Victor Osimhen? Will that be Mateus Cunha? I don't know. I doubt it. That the rumors today are that things are messy behind the scenes. Let's see. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed this. A very, very different kind of live, but I hope you did enjoy it. It's just a bit of fun. It was just to try pull some names out there and see who you guys know. You suggested some names too. The point is, if any one of these names goes to another club and does really well, we'll be sat there going, "For us, in more need than probably anyone, couldn't do this kind of business," and that would be really frustrating. So let's see. It's the 21st of Jan. There's about another 11, 12 days of the window to go. Let's see what Arsenal do. Big thanks to everyone for tuning in. Thank you for the super chats as well. Super appreciate it. The like button if you did enjoy it. And I'll catch you all in a bit.